Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. Sounds coming through. It's another Drivecast. It's another Drivecast. It is the beginning of the week. And it is early. When does your brain kick into gear? When do you get started? How soon is now? Who knows what the day will bring? New thoughts, unexpected meanings, confusion, happiness, suffering. All the challenges. All the challenges. No challenge, no progress. It's not even light yet. But the challenges are things that we all have to work our way through. The challenges are how we stay sharp, how we stay focused. We grow through adversity. We grow beyond adversity. At least that is the idea. There's a lot of polarization in the world. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of divide and conquer. There's a lot of states. There's a lot of states. There's a lot of interesting statement. The word statement, something that is said, statement, but a state, that is the position and perspective of the mind. I've talked before about how there is a very strong relationship between your state of mind and the state being the place or country that you're in. A specific set of philosophies, thoughts, ideas, and rules, specific culture. But I didn't make the connection with the statement. Mente, from Latin, from the mind. Parliament, government. Amusement, statement, how your words define you, how the words frame the picture of your conscious being. How they define to be able to see clearly and to give meaning. The unstoppable power of language. So there's a lot of polarization. Negative emotional states of isolation. That if we allow them to rule over us, they will cause us to break down internally. So let's have a look at what these negative states of mind mean in reality. Let's have a look at how we can frame them in a positive way so that we can control them rather than letting them control us. So the first state is the state of fear. There are two primal drivers in the world. We do things because we fear the consequence, that which has not yet happened, which is therefore an irrational drive. Or we do something because we love. We live in a state of complete connection with the world around about us. And when you have fear, fear is telling you that you have work to do. Fear is telling you that you are not as connected as you need to be. Fear is telling you that there's a disconnect within your psychological process. And if we focus on it, well, we all know that time flows where the focus goes. And that the beast you feed becomes bigger. So don't feed it. Don't feed the fear. The second negative state that we need to be aware of in terms of human consciousness is the state of anger. And anger results from the breakdown of expectations in systems and methods. What this means is that somebody broke the rules. There were an agreed set of habits or customs, and somebody strayed from the path of expectation. And when talking about these negative emotions, it's important to understand that they are as real in reflection as they are in reality. You have to be able to assess inside yourself how much of these emotions are driving you. Think about it right now, wherever you are. How much of your thought pattern is inherently positive and how much of your thought pattern is inherently negative? In the state and in the being where you are. Focus more on being and less on dreaming to discover your state. The third negative emotion is hurt. And hurt arises when a person's needs, either physical or psychological, are not met. It's a manifestation of a breakdown in the systems of expectation that a person has. We expect a certain kind of reaction. We are used to. We're used to living within certain borders and boundaries, and hurt is symbolic of our own egos attempt to control everything internally and externally in our environment. And there are, of course, some things that are by their very nature out of our control or beyond our control. The fourth primal negative emotion is frustration. Whoa, it's a bit of a storm coming down outside now. In a state of frustration, we have become fixed in our thinking, causing us to become imbalanced in the flow of ideas that run through our daily experiences. Something is not working, and there is a need for heightened personal senses and flexibility. Because flexibility is an element that allows us to grow. It allows us to absorb. It allows us to change ourselves so that we can fit in to the natural order of events happening in our environment. It's very important when we are in new places with new people who are in different states from how we classically feel or imagine. And so it's very key in the learning processes that happen. The fifth negative emotional state is disappointment. Now you will have realized already that all of these emotions are connected in some way. We very often stack these negative emotions on top of each other in the hope that well, it's not really a let's not go there, shall we? Let's not go there. Let's just say we're piling on the problems when we do that. And it's not the way to go. But disappointment is a sign that we need to step out of the past and step up to now. It's a sign that we need to let go and move on. It's a sign that we need to be ever more present in our own world, in our own life, in our own reality, because I think we all build our own realities. The next or sixth negative emotion which a human being can experience is the emotion of guilt, which is a deep psychological trap for a lot of people. It's also a constant source of how people are used and abused. And guilt is almost purely personal. It is symbolic of the fact that we violated our own rules or standards in what we are doing. We broke the code by which we live. And I think today we have time for one more negative emotion, which is inadequacy. Or an inability to perform to certain expectations that have been placed on us by our environment or people in our environment. It leads to a strong feeling of discomfort, and naturally, again, to disconnection. In fact, again, a theme running through all of these negative emotions is that principle of disconnection, that disenfranchisement that exists between a human being and the environment that they live within. And it's common. It's extremely common. It's far more common than anybody would like to admit. So Inadequacy is a sign that you need to change your standards. It's a sign that you need to reevaluate everything that is going on in your environment. Everything that is going on in your environment. And it's very, very important to be able to frame and control everything that's going on in your environment. That which you cannot control is something which you need to be extremely aware of, because if you cannot control it, then you don't have control over your life. So you have to frame and define all of your emotional states in terms of what you have control over and what you can change. Because if you focus on what you can't change, then you will feel helpless. So to avoid that state of helplessness, it's absolutely necessary to focus on emotional situations that you have control over, where you can decide and make a clear decision to step into a state of power where you have a choice. Only where choice exists can you set yourself free. And so focus, be aware, and understand that negative emotions exist to help us, to help guide us, and to help us take steps in the right direction. Fear, anger, hurt, frustration, disappointment, guilt, and inadequacy. Use them to your advantage. And thank you for paying attention to this Drivecast. Speak to you soon.